Good morning. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I got to get a little vote. Who's rooting for the Rams? Anyone? Rams fan? Yeah, there's one. Okay, good. Thank you. Nope. Bengals, anyone? Yeah, kind of. See, and then who's in the crowd that didn't know Super Bowl Sunday, didn't know who was in the Super Bowl? Yeah, I got some. Okay. Yeah, so I'm a Niners fan, so as much as I should root for the Rams, I don't because they beat us, so that's okay. Either way, we're going to play a game this morning. It's called Punt, Pass, Kick. If I could have my two contestants come on up for me. The goal of the game is we have a hula hoop in the center. Cooper, wave the hula hoop. Hi. There it is. So we'll have our contestants. They'll each get to go one at a time. They'll each punt, and then they'll pass the ball, and then they'll kick the ball. And so whoever makes the most, they will we got a little gift for you. So what's your name?
Kendi.
Kendi, and we got?
Jade.
Jade, awesome. So we'll start with Kendi first. We'll see how her special teams skill is, considering the Packers don't have one. Oops. So we'll punt the ball into the hula hoop. Yes, thank you. I'm funny. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, here we go. We'll try Jade. Here you go, Jade. Oh, it's okay. The Niners will take that back for a touchdown. Thank you. We'll try to pass it this time. Yeah, pass football. Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Hey, there we go. Oh, was that in, Cooper? No. Oh, but we have one more for you. We got kicking. Here we go. Yes, are you left-footed or right-footed? Right-footed, okay. Here we go. We'll see how this goes. Oh, boy. Watch out, sir. He'll adjust it for you. That's perfect. He's my brother. Oh, so close, Jade. Here we go. Maybe we can tie it up. We'll see what happens. If we do, I don't know what to do. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Man. Hey, we got our winner. Thank you for playing punt, pass, kick. Maybe you can get some wings, enjoy Buffalo Wild Wings, watch a game. Thank you guys for coming.
Welcome to the Fields. It's great to see you today. My name's Evan Courtney, one of the pastors here, and I want to thank Pastor Travis for the opportunity to be able to speak today. Me and my family, probably for the last 6-7 weeks, have been at our Charleston location, kind of helping there as the church is continuing to grow. We've got a newer pastor there, Pastor Mark and Heather Cartwright have been doing a phenomenal job. Actually, last week I got to meet there was 2 individuals there that were attending their second time from India. They were Indian students, and they had just gotten to Charleston 3 weeks before. They'd never been to the United States, and they thought, okay, we want to try out a church, and so they're actually attending church there. And so church is growing there, doing well. If you've ever in the Charleston location, or in the Charleston area, right across from Walmart is our building there, so you could stop in and check that out at any time. A great facility. But today what we are doing, we want to celebrate with you that there's over 130 adults that have signed up to get into groups that are saying, you know what, I want to gather around other people. I want to be able to find freedom, build relationships. And then on top of that, we have middle schoolers and high schoolers that are attending groups every single week. Today, what we're doing is I'm going to launch off of Pastor Travis spoke last week on we're talking about the best is yet to come. And so as we look at what the best is yet to come, we always kind of are looking forward to what is out there, what's God have for us. Because I really think inside of every one of us, how we're designed, how God has knit us together, is that all of us want to be able to do this, is to make a difference. We all want to make a difference in our life. We just don't want to float through life and not have any value. But we all want to make a difference. And I really feel like for us to be able to make a difference, though, we have to be able to discover our purpose. Like, why are we here? What are the giftings and abilities that are inside of me? How is my personality different than somebody else's? How did God wire me? But to be able to discover your purpose, what we have to do is, first we've got to find freedom. We got to find freedom from our past. We got to find freedom from that luggage that you carried in here today that's on your heart that nobody else knows about. Like, we got to figure out how to get rid of that. And to be able to find freedom in our life, the first thing that we have to do is we have to know God. This is the first things first. The first focus is this, and that's what last week Travis talked about, and you can watch that message online, but you've got to know God. That's where if you want to make a difference in your life, you got to start with knowing God. Today, what we want to do is to focus on the next one of finding freedom. How do we get rid of the yesterdays? How do we get rid of all that stuff that's in our lives that's kind of just hanging around that we kind of we close the closet door on? How do we get rid of that stuff? How we get rid of that stuff is through relationships, is through other people, is how we find freedom. We confess with our mouths, the Bible says, but we find freedom when connecting with other people. And so here's kind of where I want to start a basis on is this. First is that we need to choose my relationships carefully. You are where you are today based on the relationships that you have. See, we're a sum total of all of our relationships, whether they're good relationships or bad relationships. There's some relationships you've chosen to be into, and there's some relationships that you've inherited, whether they've been good or bad. You know, your in-laws you inherited. I like to call them my outlaws. You know the difference between in-laws and outlaws, right? Outlaws are wanted. But it's a joke. Come on, loosen up. They're not... My in-laws aren't here today, so it's gonna let it rip, right? They've got their own church they're attending. So, but that's what we have to realize is we gotta understand that we are who we are based on our relationships. Your relationships are the most important decisions that you can make in your life. So you show me your life, and I can point back to the relationships that you've had that have gotten you to this point. We were youth pastors for 10 plus years, and we would always tell middle schoolers and high schoolers, you show me your friend circle, and I will show you your future. Right? Parents, you show me your friends of who you hang out with, and I will show you your future. It works every time. It works. That's what it is. It's you show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. So choose your relationships carefully. Proverbs 27:19 says it this way, is that a mirror reflects a man's face, right? But what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. So who you really are is based on what friends you're hanging out with, who you choose. And so you actually get to be a part of the process of choosing. It's just not given to you. These are your friends, and you can't do anything about it. These are your relationships. No, but you're choosing what relationships to have. And so what I want to do is to help you today with 4 verbs to help you to get the best out of life out of your relationships so that you can have your best year ever. So that you can have to be able to make a difference, be able to discover purpose, and ultimately, through relationships, be able to find freedom. Is to get rid of all that junk that's on us. So 4 verbs. The first verb is this, is nurture my important relationships. So hopefully, you've got some important relationships, right? Your spouse, your kids, your parents, whoever that is, God. These are your important relationships, and what you do is you hold them close, and you have to nurture those relationships. And those relationships aren't in the condition they're in because they're good or bad, but they're in that condition because whether or not you have nurtured them or not. You know, Evan, my marriage isn't what it used to be. It's just a disaster. There's nothing I can do. That's just how marriages are. No. You didn't nurture your relationship. See, a couple week and a half ago when all the snowstorm and the ice storm was coming, and at our house we were kind of in a freak out mode a little bit because we hate cold. And we're like, if we lose power because of this ice, we're going to be cold, and that's not going to be good. We actually had the conversation, in all honesty, I said to Katie, I go, hey, you want to just like drive south for about 5 or 6 hours, and we'll just stay there for a week just to get rid of all this stuff? And so in our house, we were like, okay, well, we got a fireplace that we've lived in the house for 14 years, and we've never used the fireplace. And so I actually opened up the flume, and I'm like looking up in the fireplace. Can we use this? Like, I don't know anything about fireplaces. Am I supposed to see all the way to the top? Is that bird's nest okay? That sort of thing. And so we're like, okay, like there's never been a fire in the fireplace, and it's not the fireplace's fault. So to be able to put a fire in the fireplace, what do I have to do? Like the first step is I have to go and get wood. I got to go find wood. I got to go buy wood. I got to go cut wood, whatever that looks like. I don't know the wood cutting process. The second thing is I got to find some kind of fire starter. I got to find newspaper, starter log, or whatever that is, right? Lighter fluid, whatever the case. The next step is I got to find some kind of flame, right? I got to find a spark somehow. I got to get matches, blowtorch, whatever you do to start a fire in your house. And then I can have a fire, right? So then I've got it. You have a fire going, and then you cuddle up. You get your blankie. You get your hot chocolate. And an hour later, what happens to the fire? The fire is dying down. That's the fireplace's fault, right? That's the marriage's fault that the fire. No. You have to nurture the fire. You got to get up and you got to throw another log into it before it dies out, right? And so maybe that's where your marriage is. Maybe you don't have a fire in the fireplace. Men, maybe there's no fire in the fireplace. Women, you know what you got to do? You got to go out and find wood. You got to go find newspaper. You got to go find a spark. Maybe Valentine's Day tomorrow is the wood. You're starting that fire again. The only way to get fire is to start a fire. But I'm going to tell you this. It's a lot easier to keep the fire going if you've already got a fire started. And so if you have a fire started, you have to continue to nurture it. You've got to continue to put wood on it. See, here's the deal that I run into a lot of times is that I live with an angel. Okay? You think it'd be easy, but it's not, because I'm getting slapped around by the angel wings and blinded by the halo all day. I've got the best wife in the world, but here's the deal. It's like, it takes work. It still takes work. It takes work to nurture the relationship. And the grass isn't always greener on the other side. If it is, the water bill's higher, right? There's a lot more expense. There's a lot more upkeep. So don't always think that the grass is always better somewhere else. The grass is always greener where you water it. So nurture your relationships, those that are the closest to you. Don't give up on your marriage and think, oh, I never can get a fire back in that fireplace. No, the fireplace was built for a fire. You've got to go out and you've got to put in the work to make the fire happen. It's not as hard as you think. It's harder to start a fire when there's no fire than to keep one going. So if you have a fire, keep it going. Figure out ways to keep it going. If you don't have a fire, go get the supplies to make a fire. You can still start from scratch again. It's not over. There's still a fireplace. There's still a marriage. See, here's the thing with relationships, if there's no fire in the fireplace, is that we have to rely on that choices lead to feelings. Okay, we don't follow our feelings and we're like, well, I don't like her anymore. I don't have any feelings for her. No. You choose to like them and feelings follow. Right? It's easy when you're dating and you're engaged and there's these butterflies and all these feelings. But then you get married to them and 14 years later, they're still throwing their underwear 2 feet away from the laundry basket. They just can't make it that extra 2 feet. What do you have to do? You have to wake up in the morning and say, well, I'm going to choose to love that person that just snored for 8 hours, right? It's a choice. You choose, and then the feelings follow. You can't say the feelings are gone, so I'm not going to choose. That doesn't work. You have to choose. You have to choose to nurture your relationships. 1 Peter says it this way. He says, the end of the world's coming. You know that. You've seen ESPN, or not ESPN, but CNN, Fox News, maybe ESPN, but Fox News, CNN, whatever the news outlet you watch, or Facebook, get on there. Just spend 2 seconds on Facebook. You're like, yep, the end of the world is coming, or it's already here, right? And so therefore, he says, be earnest and disciplined. Most important of all, show deep love for each other. Now, I know our nation's been divided, and we're red, and we're blue, and we're masked, and we're unmasked, and we're vaxxed, and no vaxxed, and we're, Cubs and Cardinals, or whatever that is. But all of a sudden, it's like these last couple of years, it's gone from more like a dislike to like a hatred. It's like really nasty between two people or three different groups of people. But I look at this, and it says, you know what? Show deep love for each other. So nurture relationships, because what happens is love covers a multitude of sins. In your relationships, guess what? There's going to be a multitude of sins. There's going to be things that rub against you that you're not going to like. You don't like that they do this. I don't like how you drink. I don't like how you do this to your hamburger before you eat. It's like all these small little things. I don't like how you squeeze the toothpaste from the middle instead of the end and roll it up. No offense, Katie, but there's all these things that can get in the way of love. But what you have to do is you have to show a deep love for each other. So the first one is to be able to have these relationships work, you got to nurture. That's the first verb. The second verb is this: you've got to restore my broken relationships. And so the pain a lot of times of fixing a bad relationship isn't as bad as the relationship looks. It's not as bad as you think. So just dive in and fix it. Romans 12 says it this way. Here's how you fix it. You don't pay back evil for evil. That doesn't work. You don't be mean to somebody because they're mean to you and you're like, well, that fixed the relationship, right? That doesn't work. But he says, do all that you can to what? Live in peace. Do all that you can. Now, I realize you're in some broken relationships and you have done everything that you can do. That's all that it's saying. You can't force the other person to apologize. You can't force the other person to forgive you. What does the scripture say? Do all that you can do. So I do as much as I can do. If they're not doing anything, relieve yourself of that pressure. That's on them. You do everything that you can do. And sometimes it's not possible for them to join into it. That's okay. You do everything you can so that you can live in peace. And forgiveness is a daily decision. The Lord's Prayer, forgive us of our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgive us of our sins. Forgive us as we forgive other people. What if the Lord forgave you at the same amount that you forgave other people? Just think that every day you wake up and you're like, I'm going to forgive other people for as much forgiveness as I need from God. Man, I'm forgiving a lot of people, right? You're forgiving a lot of people. Man, your grace is going to be a lot. Look at Colossians, says it this way, the next verse. He says, make allowance for other people's faults. He's saying other people are going to make bad decisions. Other people are going to have faults in your relationship. Count on it, he says. Make allowance. And he says, remember, Lord forgave you, so you do what? You forgive others. So you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, the relationships that I have with people, they're going to have faults. I need to recognize, I need to understand that. I need to forgive them as much as I need to be forgiven. And that's what restores broken relationships. And this makes it easy to say, you know what? I'm going to forgive you as much as I need forgiveness. So that's the second verb. The third verb is this, is that we need to sever. That may be too strong of a word. We need to redefine, maybe is a better word, but any harmful relationships. We need to cut it off. Now, here's the deal, is that I'm not talking about your husband and wife. Like, I don't want you to go home today and say, Pastor Evan said you need to get on out of here. Talk to the hand. Pack your bags. You're gone. I'm supposed to sever my relationship from you. You're harmful. No. Don't use me as a curse word at home, right? Don't use me as the excuse. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, there's relationships in your life that are harmful to you, that are hurting you. Maybe you need to sever them. Maybe you need to cut ties with them. Maybe you need to go home and unfollow a bunch of people online. You can unfollow somebody, not unfriend them, and they have no idea, okay? Just a little tip for you that I do to some people. Other ones that you need to just sever, or you need to redefine them and say, you know what, my relationship, we used to be really close, but now I need to kind of just give you space from me because you're hurting me and you're harmful to me. So you redefine it. Relationships that aren't good for you. Proverbs says it this way about relationships. It says, walk with the wise, and you become wise. Associate with fools, and you get into trouble. So what you want to do is redefine your relationships so that you're hanging out with people that are wise, and you're hanging out with less people that are fools. Okay, so if you're hanging out with somebody that's a fool all the time, you need to change their situation, sever that relationship, redefine it so you're not spending time with them. Okay, so we're severing those relationships. And the fourth verb is this. The first three were more negative, more of reactionary, or kind of pro-action. This one's kind of moving, launching you forward, and this one is initiate. So on the positive, initiate some meaningful relationships. Go out and start some. Start relationships that you don't have. The other ones are fixing relationships that you already have. This is let's get some new relationships. A lot of people don't do this. This is the harder one, but go and find some new friends. I hear people all the time, I want some mentors in my life, or they want some friends, and they don't take the steps, though, towards getting good friends. So how do we do this? Hebrews said it this way. It goes, let us not neglect meeting together. Let us not stop finding new friends, but encourage one another, especially now that the day has dawned, his return is dawning near. So he's like, encourage one another, get together, find other people that'll be able to build you up. Find other people that'll be able to strengthen you, help you. We need to build meaningful relationships. We have to get together with the right people, and it takes work. Because the default of all of us is, I don't want to meet somebody new. I don't want to talk to somebody new. For us men, it's like, yeah, I can fix it myself. I don't need to get other people involved in this. But we can't. We think we can do it ourselves, but we can't do it ourselves. We can't find freedom ourselves. We can't get rid of the stuff in our past by ourselves, else we would have already done it. So we've got to initiate some meaningful relationships. So what kind of relationships do we initiate? And I'm glad you asked. Here's the answers. There's a couple different ones. The first relationship that we need to start is we need to develop a relationship with my church. And so I wrote it this way on purpose because pronouns are very important. And I listen to pronouns all day long. You know, I listen to pronouns of people saying, I have to do this. Or my son or daughter will say, I have to go to school today. And I correct them, no, you don't have to. You get to. You get to go to school. Right? I hear people say, I have to go to work today. No, you don't have to. You can stay home, not make any money, not pay your bills. You get to go to work. Because I know lots of people around the world that don't have any jobs that make less than $1 a day. Right? So you get to. So pronouns are very important. So here, we got to develop my relationship with my church. And so pronouns in our house look like this, is that, we'll go home today after church, and when we get home, we'll let the dog out, and the dog will run crazy around the house, and I'll squat down where the dog is, and I'll go, hey, come here, oh, who loves me, oh, this is my favorite dog, and then 2 minutes later, I'll go, hey, Ethan, your dog needs to go out. You need to take your dog around the block. So all of a sudden, pronouns, so here's very important is this pronoun of my. We need to initiate a relationship with my church. Ephesians says it this way. It says, you're citizens along with all of God's holy people, and you are members of God's family. This is my church. Like I'm a member of this. I'm gathered together with other people, and you're not just attenders, you're members. You belong with other believers. Like I understand if you're coming here and you need to come and relax, and we want this to be a place where you can come and relax if you need that, and you don't give anything, and you don't serve anywhere, and you don't volunteer or get involved in anything. That's okay. Man, use that time to relax. And we want to be here for you for that, but you can't stay there. Take the time that you need, and some of you need that time, but you've got to remember that you all need a place to belong. You can't stay where you were. To get the best out of the relationship, you have to commit to the relationship. So I think of it this way, maybe if you're attending here and just kind of haven't gotten involved, it's similar to a dating relationship. And when I was dating, with Katie, we had this dating relationship, and you would be together during the day, and then you drop them off at night, and they went home and, did their own thing, and so you were together, but there wasn't this full commitment yet. But then there was membership took place. And two became one, and there was a wedding that took place. And membership, let me tell you this, guys, is membership has its privileges. Right? It's okay to laugh. But it also has its responsibilities. But it's so much better. And you don't fully understand the value of a relationship until you commit to the relationship. So you don't just attend at the fields, but you own the fields. Man, see those chairs you're sitting on? Those are your chairs. You paid for them, right? This is your church. You see the coffee out there? That's your coffee. If you want coffee when you leave here today, go and grab coffee. There's bottles of water. That's your bottles of water. When you leave, take them. If you want a water bottle that's one of those fancy water bottles at the welcome area that's got the Fields Church on, and you don't have one of those, walk up and take it. It's your church. Those are your things. We just ask that you don't take anything that we're going to need for next Sunday. All right, if you could leave the TV here, that would be, I know you got Super Bowl tonight. But it's your things. So there's privileges to that, but then there's also responsibilities. And the responsibilities are, as you walk out today and you walk by and you saw somebody left a coffee cup on the ground and you know they should have picked it up, but this is your church, that you walk by and you see it and you pick it up and on the way out, you throw it away. Why? Because this is your church. This is my church. You're an owner of this and you take care of this. And that's what we need to do is you don't just attend like now you're owning. And you're saying, this is my church. So I invite you to be an owner of this place, a place to belong. That's the first relationship you need to develop. The second relationship is that I need to develop a relationship with godly friends. Man, have a set of godly friends. You know what godly friends are? Godly friends are people that when you hang out with them, you want to become more like God. You're driven towards being more like God. They lift you up. They don't push you down. Those are what godly friends are. So find some godly friends. Friends that aren't holding you back, but they're letting you succeed in life. They're challenging you. They're encouraging you. They're spurring you on. They're people that you can send your kids over to their house. You know that they're going to be watching the same good things that they'd be watching at home. That's what godly friends are. And so this is the pattern of the New Testament of when the church first started, is that they would meet together in large groups. And then they would do what was called during the week, they would do house-to-house ministry where they would get together in smaller groups, smaller people where they did this. Acts talks about it in 2:44. He says, and all the believers, they met together into one place and they shared everything that they had. So there was a big celebration gathering, but then they would join together and they would share everything together. So here at the Fields Church, we have groups. And there's over 20 different groups that you can be a part of, and there's a groups menu that you can see out at the groups table. We can go online, and there's all different types of groups. And so they meet together, and they share everything. And the secret to groups is that we've got groups that are interest-based. So there's basketball, sports, or hobby-based. There's men's groups, women's groups, groups with kids, groups without kids, groups for those that hate kids. There's all different types of groups. There's groups in Mattoon and Charleston, all around Coles County. And so here's the little marketing secret that we did. So that's all information-based. And so we know information isn't going to change anybody's life. You've got more information than you know what to do with. That's the hook to get you into the group for you to say, oh, I want to learn more about Colossians. It's not about Colossians. It's not about the information. It's about the relationship you're going to create with the other people in that circle. So they get together and you share everything. What do you share? You share what you really are, what you're really like. Because all of us are behind something. All of us are hiding behind something. All of us have kind of this facade or mask on, right? All of us are. There's some things that you don't want other people to know about. There's things about me that I don't want you to know about. And I'm not going to share it today. But I do have some people that I share it with. And we get into trouble when we don't have somebody else that we can share those things with. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you the areas that I'm discouraged in, because my job here today is to encourage you. So I talk to other people about that. Later today, I'll talk to other people about what I'm discouraged about. But here is to encourage you. But you've got to find a group of people that you can sit around, take your mask off and say, you know what, this is who I really am. And that's what groups are for. And we all need a place of where we can develop our relationship with godly people. And the last one is this. So we need to develop a relationship with my God. Imagine what it would look like if you said, you know what, Evan, I'm going to go all in with God. So we've been in ministry for 20 plus years, and we hear it from time to time, and people are like, I'm just going to kind of try God out, or it's like going to the swimming pool. I know the water's really cold, and I'm just going to dip my toe in the water, and then maybe when I get comfortable, I'm going to get in. No. You know if the water's cold at the pool, what do you have to do? Dude, you got to go all in. We use this terminology, or with our team here, or even with my kids at home, and they say, "Hey, I'm going to try to do this, or I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to get better grades." I'm like, no. There's no try, right? You either do or you don't. You can't say, "Evan, I'm going to try to have a better marriage after this." No, you're not. You either are going to do it, or you aren't going to do it. There's no try. And with God, you're not going to say, "I'm going to try to have a better relationship." No, you're not. You're either not going to do it, or you're going to go all in. And that's what God is waiting for, is for you to say, you know what, I'm going to go all in with all of my heart. And God will change your life when you do that. The church doesn't work just a little bit. You've got to go all in. You can't just say, I'm just going to come every 6 weeks. I'll probably be good. No. You have to go all in. Jeremiah 29:13 says it this way. If you look for me wholeheartedly, what I think they say, if you look for me all in, you're going to find me. But if it's not wholeheartedly, you won't. So you've got to jump all in. So we want to encourage you to get into healthy relationships. To choose relationships carefully. You've got to nurture them. You've got to restore them. You've got to sever relationships. You've got to initiate relationships. Well, what relationships do I initiate? Godly ones. Initiate a relationship with your church. Initiate a relationship with God. And so today we want to allow you that opportunity. If you say, Evan, you know what? I've never had a relationship with God. I've never developed a relationship with God. I've never gone all in with God. The great news is you're in the great place to do it. And today I'm going to pray for you. If you can say, you know what, Evan? I want to go all in with God. I've never had a relationship with God, and today I want to go for it. I'm not going to try, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to cannonball into this. And so I'm going to pray, and as I pray, you can pray right where you are at your seats. Let's pray together. God, today I realize that I need to have a better relationship with you. I've never had a relationship with you. And today I'm done dipping my toe in, but I'm running in and I'm diving into a full relationship with you. I want everything that you have for my life. I'm submitting my life to you. Forgive me for the past. Get rid of all this junk that I have that's bouncing around, all this guilt and all this shame. God, I just ask you to forgive me of it and give me your grace. I believe that you died on the cross for me, that you saved me, that you rose from the grave. God, and today I'm jumping all in. I want to have a real relationship with you. God, and I pray for families here today, with those maybe that are the fireplace is empty today. I pray today that you would stir inside of us to go get the wood, to go get the paper, to go get the flame, to do the hard work to make the relationship happen. God, I pray that you would restore relationships today. God, just as families are thinking about the struggles that they have maybe with their kids or with their spouse, grandkids, maybe in-laws, parents, that today that you would start that fire that's not there, God. God, we thank you that you're the creator of all things. God, we thank you that you're the one that gives us grace. We thank you that you've not created us to be alone, to live alone, but you've created us to be in a circle with other people. You've created us to live life together, that we don't have to worry about living life on our own, but that we can live it with you and live it with other godly people who help us along the way. God, and we thank you for other people.